Hi everyone, it's Fitz with the Walk and Talk. I'm going to stand right here, kind of shaded from the still very brisk breeze here at Amon G. Carter Stadium. Kansas State loses a really difficult game, 38-28 to TCU. The Wildcats, as you know, were ahead 28-10 in the first half. And then just a horrific set of events took place for K-State, much of it self-inflicted. The last K-State full possession of the first half was a 3-and-out. After Will Howard came in for an injured Adrian Martinez and led the Wildcats to 4 straight touchdowns, it looked like K-State was on the verge of blowing this game wide open before halftime, and then K-State has a 3-and-out and they punt. TCU goes down and scores right before the half, and they got the ball back to start the second half, and the Frogs then scored again. So just like that, in the course of a few minutes of play on the field, with a halftime in between, that 28-10 lead became a 28-24 lead, and the injuries then started piling up. And the injuries really are a significant story, but to Chris Kleiman's credit, he didn't really want to get into that. He said that's why they give you 85. We'll be okay. They're not okay. They are severely battered and beaten after this game, and I think it speaks to the level of severity of some of these injuries that they suffered at Iowa State, that they were lingering. The Adrian Martinez knee happened at Iowa State. If you remember, after that Iowa State game, I talked about how Adrian was gimping into the post-game interview room. Apparently he has a badly bruised knee, and was aggravated on that first possession. Boy, I hope you can hear me. It is howling right now at this stadium. And he was gone. We were initially told he'd probably be back, but then it just turned out to be too difficult for him to manage. And as I saw him exit the locker room tonight, he was pretty darn gimpy. But Will Howard came in, and I think he performed at a level much higher than many of us expected until later on he was injured. And TCU, I think, Will said they didn't really change what they were doing defensively to K-State. They just amped it up a lot. And boy, it worked for the Horned Frogs. There's no doubt about it. Kansas State's offense just couldn't muster much of anything in the second half. Deuce Vaughn had some nice plays. Will Howard did make some nice passes, but like I said, Will Howard gets hurt. They go to Jake Grubley, and bluntly, he's not quite ready to be in that kind of high-pressure situation. He threw a very, very bad interception, and the offense just couldn't move the ball with Jake Grubley on the field. I think a lot of us see now why Will Howard is clearly the number 2, and but I'll say this. I don't feel like the coaches always put these players in a position to succeed in that heart of the game, right in that bridge, those possessions that I saw Bill Snyder do to teams so often. And what's of note to that is this is the first coin toss that Kansas State's lost all year, so TCU was able to defer and get the ball to start the second half. And who knows though, maybe Chris Kleiman would have wanted to take the ball with the first possession of the game anyhow. This is K-State's first loss in conference play, and while it's easily overcome mathematically in terms of what Kansas State still can achieve as a football program in this season, it's going to be really difficult to get this team regrouped and ready to play next week against Oklahoma State and to be healthy. We'll have a full list of all the injuries and what we know about them at GoPowercat.com, but if you watch the game, it was significant. Almost every headline player, maybe short of Cooper Beebe, was injured, unable to finish the game, or playing limited amounts. Deuce Vaughn is pretty dinged up, and he was a warrior and finished it up. We're fearful Daniel Green might be gone for a while, and of course on top of that, we had the personal foul ejection of Khalid Duke, which will linger into next week too. The game with Oklahoma State will be on Fox, 2:30 p.m. They get national TV after Oklahoma State's big win over Texas. K-State better get ready because Oklahoma State's pretty good. But by winning against Oklahoma State, they can hit the reset button really quickly. TCU's a pretty darn good football team. I thought offensively they were well cut out, but they offered Kansas State's offense enough opportunities to score points, and certainly from those first 4 touchdowns, after that, there were no points. And this hangs on the coaches and the players, and unfortunately an injury bug. An injury bug that has always been the Achilles heel of this program. And it's something Chris Kleiman has been working to overcome, and honestly the transfer portal has really made it even more difficult. With K-State unable, at least to this point, to recruit at the high level some of these other programs have, when you get down into the depth chart, it's really difficult for the Wildcats to overcome that, and it's always been that way. When you're a developmental program, that's what happens. But I do agree with some of the fans. They've got to improve their recruiting so the depth follows along. And honestly, I think also some of those losses, those transfer portal linebackers and other guys that ended up not panning out really paid the price tonight. As towards the end of the game, they had no starting linebackers on the field. In fact, they were on their third string middle linebacker. Painful loss for Kansas State, especially how it went down. But I think they'll regroup and get back at it. This is a good group of kids, and we'll see what happens now from Adrian Martinez going forward, if he'll be able to go. But folks, I don't feel good about it. If he still had a lingering injury from 2 weeks ago, 1 week later, it might be awfully hard for Adrian to get on the field. We'll have more of that at GoPowercat.com. But Will Howard came in after the game, talked to the media, and handled it just like a man. Well, that's it. I'm going to have a daily delivery on Sunday. I got some things to say. You better look out for that one.